Nothing's been able to get into my other feeder out there since I put that stovepipe on it so many years ago. That cost me $13. But the last 3 days, a raccoon has figured out how to get back up here. These slinkies have been up here for about 4 to 5 years. Now all of a sudden they're getting into jelly, everything else, tearing stuff down. So I'm going to make a new stovepipe. Just went and bought them at Lowe's. They actually cost me about $15. They're not back in the stove area. They're in by lumber and over in that area. And it's just a stove, it's stovepipe. Much thinner. And they come like this, is a 4-inch cap. And you got to make a hole in it to slide it over the hook. So I have to use a spade bit like this to cut a hole. This is 3/4 inch, a little bit bigger to make room. You want to clamp this down very, very good so it doesn't spin around and you get cut. So I got a little block of wood here, something to lay this on and get a better grip so it don't spin out of my hand, because these edges are very sharp. Then I'll drill 4 holes. You want to make sure that your drill bit is a little bit smaller than your screw size so they don't just strip out real easy. And you just kind of guess. I make 3 to 4 holes, depending on how many screws I want to put in it. Just do that, space them out, don't have to measure, just kind of guess. But a good drill bit does make a big difference. And watch out you don't get a lot of little metal slivers, and always wear glasses, that's for sure. Then I slide this cap over here, over this hook. And you'll need, this will help support this so it doesn't fall down any farther. Then I'll take the other part, slip it up in there and put screws in it and bolt it together. This one's up on the deck, so a little more difficult to do. Then this stovepipe here, the stovepipe you have to put around here first, and then you squeeze this together, and that can be a pain. And then you slide it up in there and pre-drill it and put screws in it. And once you've got this wrapped around here, and this is not an easy thing, at least for me. You got to squeeze these together to get these 2 pieces to interlock. Then slide them up into here, and then finish drilling your holes and put your screws into it. This is a major pain for older people that's lost a lot of hand strength. This took me, heck, I don't know, it seemed like 2 hours to finally get this here put together. Had to bend a lot of it to get it over, and then it got bent out of shape so much, couldn't get the cap on. When you're younger, you got a lot more hand strength, but that can be a pain. And I'll slide this up here, and I will bolt everything underneath so it hangs up about there, and the raccoon can't come up and get everything. This one here yesterday took me about, seemed like 2 hours. I bent and twisted and did everything in the world. It's much easier when they're laying on the ground. You put your knee on them, but then you can't get them over these posts. So I seen a person on YouTube said he used vice grips here on the top. Once you pinch this end here together, and it did help. But at my age, I don't have half the strength I used to have in my hands. Still couldn't get it, so I took these and just kept pressing it a little bit together and then working it. It took me about 15 minutes, way easier, and didn't bend it up near as bad. But I also take this before I start, and I lay it over this 2x4 post, and I bend the ends down a little bit all the way on both sides, and that definitely helps get it more in shape. One thing it will help a bunch, especially if you can't lay these on the ground when putting some of these on. Some will, depends on the size you get. 4-inch don't quite, 2 feet long 4-inch won't slide all the way over the top. So when you get them bent out of shape, then I take a pair of pliers and I go around the top about 1/4 inch, and I bend most of it inward. That way it makes it a little bit easier for this cap to go on. Otherwise, you about never get that cap on because it's been out of shape that much. Then I use blocks at the bottom and a block at the top and hammer it down so that I don't tear everything up.